the wall. I call this meeting to order. Would you please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So be it. Chancellor, has the notice of this meeting been posted?
I certify that the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the law. Chair Stoma.
This board will now go into closed session. We have some important business to discuss. We will come back out and conduct the remainder of our meeting agenda. We have, I think, refreshments set up for you to for your pleasure. So we will be back. So the Board of Trustees, in accordance with Section 551001, the Texas Government Code, will move into closed section under one or more of the following provisions. Section 551071, 072, 074, 076. We will reconvene. I now adjourn this meeting. Thanks. Of 12 p.m., I hereby reconvene a regular meeting. Any public comments?
Sir, we have no one registered for public comment.
Chancellor, any introductions, special guests, recognitions?
No, sir. Thank you.
Then I'm going to ask for the approval of the October 3rd, 2024 tax hearing and regular meeting. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Any special reports, Chancellor?
I do, sir. Thank you. I want to start with Watts. We had Watts on October 18th, LSC online. Trustee Pierce attended Watts online. We also had the Human Library at Lone Star College North Harris. And so the Human Library is literally exactly what it sounds like. It's instead of checking out a book, you check out a human, and that human tells you a story. And so I've been going, I think it was my 6th year. And so I had a lot of fun there. Also, November 5th, which was 2 days ago, we had the Human Services Service Organization over at Montgomery in the Maverick Conference Center. That was a lot of fun as well. But the most fun of my week was actually yesterday. I went to jail. The LSC University Park Bailout Care Center fundraiser. And so for the board, you get arrested essentially, and then people have to bail you out by donating money to the care center, which is right down the hall here. Actually, they've been working really hard on it here at UP, and our care center is the food pantry and other services are offered. And so you know, you don't really find out who your friends are until you're in jail. And I can tell you that I think the final total was, I was trying to raise $200 and I ended up raising almost $800. So thank you to all of my friends who did not forget me when I was in jail. The forthcoming events, we have the golf tournament on November 18th in the dinner as well. I think all of you have been invited. I think we actually have a team of trustees playing. And so again, that's November 18th. We'll see you out there on the golf course. And then we have the Houston North Victory Expansion Topping Out Ceremony on November 20th, 2024, 11 to 1. And again, that's at Houston North, the Victory Center. And I had to ask what a topping out was. So let me explain. It's the opposite of a groundbreaking. So if you remember, we were supposed to have the groundbreaking the same day that we had inclement weather, and so it was canceled. And the topping out is essentially, I guess, like when you like finish. No, they're putting a beam. That's what it is. They're putting a beam to sort of to the structural integrity at the very top. And then the last event is Watts. What's the word on the street? Is at System Office to Woodlands on November 22nd. from 9:30 to 11 a.m. in the Star Ballroom. And then the last thing that I wanted to highlight is we received an award this year that we've only received 2 years, and we received it last year. And it's the Department of State's Fulbright HSI. And, one of the first things that I check, to be quite candid with you, when we win things is one, what does it take to win the thing? Does everyone win it? Right. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised to tell you that there are only 50 institutions in the entire country that get the Fulbright HSI designation, and that includes universities. So we are one of 7 community colleges that got that, and one of 50 institutions in the entire country. And it's just really a testament to sort of our international education and our partnership led up through international students from Dr. Caruso, Dr. Haggerty, and Dr. Keshvala on the academic side. So just wanted to let the board know that we did sort of win that, and there is a press release. But just thank you to all the staff that's involved in that. One of my focuses as the chancellor is to make sure that we provide a world-class education to the students that we have here. And in order to sort of have cosmopolitan world traveling students, we have to offer some of those opportunities to our students here. So thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you. Chancellor's Cabinet, Dr. Renier.
Good morning. Should have a presentation. I do have the slide deck. There you go. So as you've seen that we've been taking a rotation of having each of the cabinet members present on their respective area. And I took the liberty of being a little bit out of the box because I feel like you probably get to hear a lot about finances and all the budget. So I wanted to highlight one of our areas that I'm actually very proud of, and a lot of behind the scenes work has been going on the last year, and that is our new auxiliary services department. And so I know when you came in, you may have had a chance to see some of our things on display, which I will highlight. But I wanted to recognize our outstanding auxiliary services team. They're here with me today. I won't call them by name, but I would ask them just to stand. They have been working a lot behind the scenes to get all of the food service and all of our activities up and running the last few months. And all of the things that we're doing could not be done without their hard work. So thank you for all those things. Because auxiliary services is something that's very different at a community college than 4-year, but equally as important. We want our students to have all of the experience of our partners and the experience that they had from high school. And a lot of that is those wraparound services that we take for granted, but we don't always think about all the hard work that goes into them. And so what I'm going to tell you briefly about is our dining services, vending, our new retail stores, course materials, package lockers, and then our regalia and items that we've been working on. So we have a brand new website that has been built to have all of our information in one spot. So if a student, a faculty member, a visitor to campus has any question about these services, they have one location they can go to, click on for anything that they need. They can reach our team that way. They can find all of the interactive information and materials and have it all right there in one hand. Our dining services is probably the biggest lift that we've experienced the last year. It was one of the first times that the chancellor and I had a conversation, and he said, I want food service for the spring. And I said, okay, we got it. Me thinking that was March or April. And he's like, no, spring means like January 1. So I think we had less than 60 days to try to get everything up and running. And that could not have been done without our vending partner, Company Kitchen. And so we're very pleased. And hopefully, I know when you come to the UP campus or any of our other campuses, you're able to see the product of all of that hard work and behind the scenes. And each of the various campuses have different concepts. So not all of them have the same. We continue to evolve and expand our services. What you have in front of you on your screen is just a brief overview of the various concepts that we've implemented. So we have Tex-Mex, we have pizza, we have Starbucks. Of course, everybody likes their coffee. That was one of our biggest requests, was when we were going to have that back. And so there's a variety of offerings. And like I said, one of the things that I wanted to point out though, and why I included it on the slide, is that we also had intentional conversations is that what one person can have for lunch is not what everyone can have. And so we want this to be a place that is accessible to everyone. So every one of our concepts and every one of the campuses has a value menu item. It might not seem like much, and it is an item that will rotate, but we wanted to have a low price item that regardless of a student's budget, they would have available to have a hot meal that day. So we each of the campuses have a hot dog, chicken nuggets, ham or turkey sandwich that is as less as $1 to $2. And of course, those are products we're not making money on, and that's not the intent. The intent is that if somebody needs a hot meal, they have that available to them. And so we'll continue to evolve those services out. And then we'll also be doing a survey in the spring to measure how we are doing, what else the students want to see. It is a fine balance between giving them all the things, right, and being able to deliver all of the same concepts around the campuses. So we just wanted to provide an overview to you of what we've been working on. We also have Pay to Connect, so students or employees, I know many of our employees take advantage of that as well, that they can actually order from their office on the mobile app and then come into the kitchen and have it picked up to help expedite the time that they're in the cafeteria. We also have social media pages where we're posting new menu items, special promotions. So encourage you to follow those pages. And as well as on the website, it does have each of the dining location choices, their hours, and more information. So we're continue to evolve and want to put all of the information out there on the web for our students, but also want to make sure that we have timely and available services to them. We also were able to highlight our catering that we're just implemented in October. So hopefully you all got to have part of the sampling. So I hope everyone in attendance was able to enjoy that. But we are just launching that here in October with our partner for food, and they're actually catering on a lot of the campuses already. So that was the last and latest addition that we've rolled out is our ability to cater to all of our campus events. So all of you should have one of those with you at your location to just take a look at that. But we wanted to showcase that for you all today so that not only could you see what we've been working on, but our wonderful teams here and visitors could also see some of the things that we've been working on and know that this is now a service to them, whether they're hosting a campus, a student event, or even having visitors from outside host events on campus. We can actually host and have those catered events, which is continuing to support auxiliary services. It helps to support our students and ultimately helps to support our bottom line. So hope you were all able to sample some of the delicious wares from that this morning, as well as see some of the options that we have available to cater for future events. So just wanted to highlight those for you here this morning. We also wanted to make sure that you were aware of not only our virtual bookstore, we have been working with faculty and the campus teams over the last year. That was a big transition for the campuses to go to a virtual bookstore program. And we are excited to announce that we are actually bringing the retail stores back. So that is something the team is working on behind the scenes right now. And the retail stores will be returning through our partner Academos to campus in the spring. So we will start having stores open as early as January. And as you can see from the visual, Cy-Fair, Montgomery, North Harris, and University Park will open in January. And then in August, we will have Houston North, Tomball, and the Kingwood campus open their full retail stores. So we're very excited about that opportunity and hope that in the next coming weeks, you will start to see progress at all of the campuses. The students and employees wanted their swag back. They want to be able to have a place that they can go in and buy merchandise. And so that is an item that our team has been working to bring back with our partner. And that is not something that has been done under our traditional model. So we're very excited about the hard work that we've done to launch that program. Soon after, and as a complement to the retail stores, we will be bringing equitable access to campus. The program will be launching in fall 2025. That's been a program that we have been talking about for quite a long time at Lone Star. It's my understanding for a number of years that this has been a program that the campuses wanted to implement. We're actually a little bit behind our peers. So a lot of our partners and a lot of our surrounding community college and four-year partners already have this program. So we're anxious to get this out and make it available to our students and make it easier for them to have their textbooks. And so we are calling it our STAR program. It is Start the Term with Academic Readiness to make sure that everyone has what they need to be successful in the classroom. And so all of our students we build a flat fee per credit hour for this program. It would not change how our faculty adopt their textbooks. It would not change what they are able to use for their classroom. The program would be a digital first program, meaning that it would be loaded in their D2L, which is our online learning portal for our students, and they would have access to that the first day of school. So this is just a sample to you, because if I get asked one question about equitable access, it's really about cost and saving the students. And your example in front of you shows you that the average student, so the first student there in the example is a nursing student. So a nursing student on average might save $1,300 with the program right out of the gate. Student 2, you can see, would be taking 13 hours with lab. In a STAR bundle, they pay $273, which on an average would be about $134 cost savings to them. And student 3, even with an OER or no cost option, that student could still save somewhere around $36, $37 a semester. And so that is the program that we're looking at bringing for the fall to the students. We estimate that our average student will save about 30% on textbooks each semester. And the student has the ability to opt out. So if they don't find it beneficial to them, the student controls all the messaging and the power, and the student themselves are able to opt out of the program. So it's not mandatory that they participate. They have until the official day of record to actually opt out of the program. So if they make changes to their schedule, they can continue to adapt and evolve. So wanted to also show you our regalia that we've been working on. Again, we had that on display outside for you all to see. We had a copy of the student regalia, an example of a trustee regalia, faculty VIP, as well as some of our first generational stoles. And so we were happy to work with our partner to bring a customized gown for not only our students, but our faculty and our VIPs. And that will be available to all of our faculty and students to purchase online. As well as we worked on package lockers this semester. We really wanted to have an ability to be able to serve students. And so while these were intentionally purchased and installed for assistance with textbooks, this could be used for something as simple as food delivery. So like if a student needed to pick up food or an item from a campus after hours, an item could be placed in there for the student would get a texted code to them, and they would be able to go and retrieve that package without having to be assisted or having your standard 8 to 5 hours. So we've installed these banks at each of the campuses, and we're looking at continuing to expand those as the need requires throughout the upcoming months. So I know I went through that quickly, but I wanted to be respectful of your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions or turn it back over to the trustees.
Dr. Beignet, I have a recommendation for you on marketing your food court.
Yes, sir.
You know, the Houston Astros every now and then have Dollar Dog Night.
Okay.
You know, where you can show up, and it used to be Nolan Ryan hot dogs. That was the big deal. You know, you can go get a Nolan Ryan hot dog for $1 at the ball game. Maybe periodically you offer the El Chancellor Dollar Dog Day,
Okay.
where you can have dollar hot dogs for one day. Just
Okay.
pick it out what's good for you, and
Yeah.
in honor of the Chancellor and the work that you're doing and he's doing, have that Dollar Dog Day, Chancellor Dollar Dog Day.
I like it.
All right, thank you.
I'll try to see if that's not patented
Yeah,
somewhere else.
just so you
Have
know.
a Picture
El
of the
Chancellor
chancellor.
is trademarked. So yeah, there's only one El Chancellor, so I'm trademarking it. So will you cede the floor to me, Chair?
Say again?
Will you cede the floor to me?
Yeah.
Can I have the floor? Yes, sir. Okay. Will you go back to the slide with the cost for the food? I really want to go back to that. So this is part of a larger strategy board. I want to make sure first, sort of mission one, and she's absolutely right. Dr. Vienne agreed to be the interim right after Thanksgiving. In one of our first meetings, I said, get food. And she said, by when? And I said, January. And we had a whole discussion about when I say by spring, I mean January, not spring break. So that's accurate. But first sort of mission one was to get food. Then we wanted to get affordable food. So I can tell you when we got the $2 food and the $1, I bought like $25 worth. And I took it all up to the C-suite and was handing it out to people and said, we're going to eat it. Because if it's good enough for our students, and it's going to be good enough for us. And I can tell you that I'm a big fan of the ham and turkey sandwich for $1. And so that was sort of step 2. And then step 3 is even $5 for some of our students is too much. And so Dr. Vienne and Nicole Robinson worked together, and we have now food scholarships, right? Which, if you remember at the gala, all the money that we raised at the gala, including a massive donation from the institution itself, went to food scholarships. And I can tell you that Dr. Wright was in charge of essentially the order form or the portal where you would sign up for these food scholarships, and they went like hotcakes in like 2 or 3 weeks. They were all gone. So the demand is clearly there. And so just wanted to let you know that it's sort of a three-part thing, right? One is offering the food, two, then offering sort of food at subsidized cost. And then three, even at the subsidized cost for a lot of us students, they can't afford it. So it's an institutional priority to provide food to our students, because the research shows that if you're hungry, you're not going to learn. And I mean, and that's how it ties back to sort of our educational mission. Now, next to that is equitable access, right? So equitable access, the bookstore thing, the money that we're going to make from that will just go right back to sort of either feeding students, giving employee scholarships and things of that nature. Because we want everyone to eat in the cafeteria, knowing that we're not out to sort of make a profit. We're out to not lose money and generate income so that we can do other things like feed our students for free. And just to be fair, because the faculty are sitting over here, and I won't be honest, because I always promise the board that, it can't just be a pep rally. We have had some struggles and some challenges with academics in the bookstore, just to be really sort of transparent. And I think that we've done about as good a job as can be expected, considering that a year ago, we essentially rolled something out, and there wasn't sort of that her whole department that she just talked about, auxiliary services, didn't really even exist a year ago. So not only has she and her team rolled out all of these things, but they've been building the plane while they fly it. And I just wanted to make sure that they know that they're appreciated, because I see them sitting back there. I can tell you that, when we created bookstore complaints essentially at lonestar.edu, I knew I had found the right person to be CFO when at the time Dr. Vian was the senior associate vice chancellor and Mr. Erickson back there was the executive director. And both of them, I had to send them an email to tell them to stop sending emails at 11 p.m. on a Friday and Saturday night. I said, "You guys need a break." I said, "Well, students need our help." Right. And so I can tell you that to the faculty, trust me, I hear you. We are working on it, particularly at Montgomery. I can tell you that the biology and the math folks at Montgomery have some very legitimate concerns that we're going to address by taking a closer look at it. But I just want to be really honest and transparent with the boards. Some of these things that we're trying, they are 100% great ideas, and we just need to refine the operations of it. But we continuously work to do the best thing that we can for our students and employees. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Faculty Senate.
Chair, I did have a question.
Oh, go ahead. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
thank you. With respect to the lockers,
Yes, sir.
has any thought been given to making those lockers available to students to have, for lack of a better term, Amazon shipments dropped? Because not everyone lives in a single family home where things are maybe safe on the front porch.
Yes, and so we have looked at and also visited with Amazon independently about doing those. The difference is the accessibility. So when you have something like an Amazon, you would have to give access to a third party to actually do that. So we've looked at, in addition to having these, that we would work with Amazon directly to actually have that as availability on our campuses. So we've started those initial campuses. As the chancellor indicated, it's like kind of one thing at a time. And so that's why with the textbooks, the students do have the option to have that delivered to the campus, and those items could be put in those lockers. But yes, part of the future expansion is to also look and work with third-party providers to have some additional resources. So,
Good. Thank you, Chair.
yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Faculty Senate.
Welcome. My name is Chris Davis. I'm the Faculty Senate President at LSC Online. To the board, Chair Stoma and Chancellor Castillo, I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the funding that faculty across the system have secured through external grants and showcase some of the fantastic work faculty are doing on behalf of our students and on the system. Why some faculty pursue these external grants? It supports the development of new courses, the equipment, whether it's in science, technology, is sustainable and stays on. A lot of times when we apply for these grants, that is a precondition, is the sustainability of some of these initiatives. it raises the profile of Lone Star College. So we've got our names, our college associated with the National Science Foundation, National Endowment of the Humanities, National Academy of Sciences, alongside University of Texas and Texas A&M, when we're able to secure these. Here you'll see a picture. Most of the pictures I'm going to show you here are our own students in action benefiting from many of these external grants. It also fulfills our mission of strengthening our institutional relationship, particularly the LSE values of curiosity and innovation. Furthermore, it provides great mentorship opportunities between students and faculty. Important in this is scalability. So some of these grants and projects I'm going to show in the next couple of slides are scalable, meaning when faculty take initiative and pilot a new program with external funding that they've worked hard to secure, it has a knock-on effect that it can be scaled up within their particular discipline, across campuses, and to adjacent disciplines. So I'm going to look at some of our grants at a glance. LSC in fiscal year 24 has received nearly $6.5 million in external grants. Now, these are not just faculty grants. This is a system as a whole. Everything from National Institutes of Health, Department of Energy, for things like speaker stipends, virtual exchange, community project funding. We've received funding from just about every U.S. Department of State, Education, Energy, Labor, in addition to local state grants such as Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. For example, we have a system-wide grant through the civic engagement coordinators on every single campus, right? That's a $1.5 million grant through the Houston Endowment. Here we've got a poster from an event sponsored at LSC Tomball. Join us for Constitution Day back in September. And it's a great way for, in this particular case, civic engagement, to work across campuses, benefiting our students, collaborating. And here from Kingwood, they recently had a presidential debate watch party where we brought in over 70 students, faculty members, community members, all made possible because enterprising faculty took the initiative and the time to apply for these funds with the help of the grants management team to secure this. So it benefits not just our students, but our faculty, our staff, and our community members, which is consistent with our mission as a community college. And in fact, I think Kingwood is having a post-election analysis also funded by this. I believe they have a discussion going on today. Here's one. This is the Biological Applications of Microelectronic and Mechanical Devices grant secured at LSC Montgomery by Dr. Danny Kiner in partnership with the University of New Mexico. So in addition, it's not just Lone Star, but it's our ability to partner with other institutions across the state and across the nation. And here's a student doing hands-on research made possible by this grant and the faculty who applied for it and secured it. Here we have some students with that grant presenting at conferences in Salt Lake City and in Washington, D.C. So this is a great way for students to get real-world hands-on experience. And you can imagine what this does as students finish their AA and transfer to larger universities, the experience they get, how this looks on their application, all made possible by this, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that they achieve through many of these grants and the faculty that support them. Here's another one. This one's from Kingwood, engaging communities to design nature-based solutions to mitigate climate-related hazards. This was a National Academy of Sciences grant for $103,000 over 2 years. It involved teacher training, student training, empowering students to advocate for positive changes in their communities, from monitoring air quality, resolving pollution problems through grassroots advocacy. And I need to take a moment here to apologize to my colleagues at Houston North. When submitting this slide, this presentation, I left out one of their slides. Houston North is doing some amazing work. In fact, I would say they are doing as much, their faculty, as much, if not more than any other campus with the external grants. They have secured a BCT grant for $250,000, Texas Governor's Summit Merit Grant for $17,000, working with MD Anderson on their grants, and a Texas Emergency Aid Roadmap for 150,000. So they should be commended in particular. And again, I do apologize that their slide was omitted. We've got another one. This is one that LSE Online in Kingwood have been working on through the National Endowment of the Humanities. To my knowledge, it's the first National Endowment of Humanities grant that Lone Star has received, certainly of this size. It's particularly for humanities initiatives at community colleges. We're working with partners from TSU, San Jac, University of Texas. It's over 3 years. The idea is to develop thematic tracks in our U.S. history courses, whereby students can take a survey course with a particular lens or angle. So some of the proposed tracks here, science and technology, health and medicine. So we can imagine maybe some of our nursing students obliged to take U.S. history. Many of them are not going to become history majors. So the idea here was to tailor a particular survey class to look at U.S. history, again, covering all of the material that's required, but using it through a lens of health and medicine, for instance. And so we've got some quotes from the student surveys who seem really excited about this, and we got rave reviews from the NEH grant reviewers. So we're very excited that is launching this year, and we hope to have a pilot in place by next academic year. And then this is another one that can be scaled, applied to different disciplines for these survey courses. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the LSE grants development team and management. When we think about faculty applying, receiving, and implementing these external grants from the National Science Foundation, from the National Endowment of the Humanities, there is a lot of work behind the scenes through grants development team and management. In fact, I should have made them the first slide because they should be commended on the work they do. One thing I realized having received one of these grants is the amount of work it creates for DOMs, deans, for OTS, for accounting, and for staff. Every time you order a piece of equipment, every time you send out a stipend, every time you travel somewhere, for one faculty member, there's probably 3, 4, 5 other staff members for whom they have additional work to make sure all of that is reconciled and in place and keeps us running. So it's a real team effort. And with that, I did want to be brief, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions, comments, colleagues? Thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate the work that the faculty does. The faculty is the face and the backbone of this institution. You make us successful. So thank you, and we appreciate you keeping us informed of what's going on and the good work you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. AFT, you're here today?
No, sir. John wrote to express his regrets that he was going to be in class this morning.
That's cool. Board members, anything you would like to present, say?
I just wanted to say, I don't know if it was last month, Dr. Wright's gonna have to remind me, but I had a chance to go to my first basketball game. Listen, I had no idea, as long as I've been knowing Lone Star, that we had basketball teams. It was excellent. I mean, I was so impressed. I mean, I don't remember if I won or not, but I was like, I was back in high school or college and jumping all over the place. And it was remarkable because that was a good turnout. It was, I mean, even your faculty, I mean, families were out there, I was out there. And I mean, it meant so much to see a 2-year college have this. I was very impressed. And that's one thing I think we need to keep up because, believe it or not, that is a draw for students. If you have this, the outside activities like basketball, because I knew when I was in high school, whatever school won the state championship, that's where everybody wanted to go. Seriously, I mean, it wasn't about academics. It was about who won the state championship in football or basketball. And I couldn't believe that the draw, students are wanting to say, you have something to offer. And then I understand that you guys are trying to do volleyball, or was it girls volleyball? That is amazing. I am so impressed with that. And I really think, I didn't know that was around. I'm just so impressed. I don't know what to do because, I didn't know that existed on a 2-year college. And I also, I think I got something in the mail showing me that we're going to have a step show. And this is unique. It's a Divine 9 step show. If anybody's been on a college campus, step. I may step myself because it would have to be a senior step show because it's been a long time since I've been in the step show. But anyway, I think this is unique and it's a partnership with Aldine. And you talking about bringing the community, that's what I'm about, bringing the community in. That'll do it because this is a family affair. And when I tell people about it, they say, I'm bringing my kids, I'm bringing my whole family. Because everybody enjoys, a good step show. I don't care who you are, they get into it. And the fact that it's going to be at the M.O. Campbell, am I right? That means security is going to be good. It's going to be inside. You don't have to worry about inclement weather. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of room. I am very excited because we are one of the first, the step show thing, that's a unique for a two-year college. That is not done at a community college. So we kind of set the standard. Let's keep going.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to report on a conference we attended in Seattle. Trustee Pierce, Trustee Saldivar, and Trustee Wilson joined our Chancellor Castillo for the AZCT Leadership Congress. And this is one of those that brings together educators, it brings together presidents and board members. And it's a great opportunity to learn, best practices and shared experiences, as well as network for people from all over the country. It's always a great way to do that. But I just wanted to just mention one of the things, and then I kind of want to have a couple of notes on the exciting promises offered through artificial intelligence, through AI. And I'm sure everybody's interested. Everybody wants to know how to move forward with it, especially as trustees. Glad to know that, knowing that we have our chancellor with us, he's able to offer us insight about what we're doing and how exciting and hopeful we are about those opportunities and what he's actually doing already. But some of the notes I took was in terms of options that are offers. I'm talking about AI, chat tools paired with courses. Apparently are proving very helpful. They also offer early indicators, performance challenges, which is always key to success of students. And then I like the workforce readiness solutions or opportunities by mapping learning outcomes to job requirements, as we always try to do. But it has a dimension of scenario simulations are easier to create, and anybody that plays around with ChatGPT, you know that you can really find out a lot of things if you ask the right questions. And so I found that all very interesting. But more importantly, it offers promises for effectively integrating student support services, right? And just there's so many great things that can come out of this, and as long as we take the right path, and I think we are. So I think it paid off. I think we learned a lot from it, and we're looking forward to continue to keeping track of how we succeed along those lines and many others. And that's it.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other comments, trustees? Do we have any committee reports? Committees you want to report? Okay. Then we'll go to the consideration of the consent agenda. We are going to withdraw item 11. We're withdrawing item 11. Are there any other items that need to be pulled for discussion? Going once, going twice? Okay. Then I'm going to ask for a motion to approve items 1 through 10 and item 12. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second motion? A motion. Second motion?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Then all items pass. Thank you. We got the financial report up next.
All right. So looking at your financial statement for month end, September 30th, as you can see in front of you, for the September 30th reporting period, we had received 14.2% of our revenue projection for the year. Just to remind the trustees, the reason that 23 and 24, and then of course this current fiscal year look a little different from previous years is just a reminder of the 3-pay state system rather than the 10-pay. So prior to the 2 preceding years, we would have received a payment by the state. And at this point, upon closing, we had not received one of those 3 pays. So just making sure you understand, we're not actually tracking down that is to be expected given the new state payment method. Looking at financial expenditures, again, looking through September 30th, you can see tracking a little below where we have been this time in preceding years. Actual expenditures are 7.2% of the budget for $35 million in actual expenditures for the first month in the fiscal year, which is to be expected. Typically, when we open a new budget period, it's a good time for departments to start ordering again what they need with the new budget year. So looking at financial statements broken down a little differently as requested, you can see that our revenues for the first month was mainly due to tuition and fees, and so accounted for $71 million that we had received in the first month of the reporting period, and really no other significant revenue to receive at this point, which is, again, usual. We would not have received taxes or state appropriations at this point. So in the first month, our majority of revenue is going to come from the fall tuition revenue from students. Looking at the financial statement, again, not a lot of significant variances or items to report. Looking at taxes to date, typically we get asked, about negatives this time of year. So I just wanted to point out the 259 in negative for taxes is again typical because we actually still see tax refunds that come in for tax collections held by our assessors or collectors because like I said, refunds or other items would have been granted. So that is why we are seeing a negative there in that line item because collections have not yet begun for the tax year. Most of us all have just now received our new statements looking for next year. And so that is why that item is showing negative right now. We also are showing this statement a little bit different to break out the categories, showing you tuition and fees, as well as our waivers and exemptions, and have some additional information that we'll be sharing about that in the forthcoming year, but just trying to show you a little bit more broken out picture of the way we've shown financials in the past. Looking at the financial statements, again, looking at salaries, again, the increase in 21 million for last year in salaries to 23 million this year is mainly due to the increase in the salary. As you will remember, we gave a 4% for staff and 8% for faculty. And so the majority in the increase there is a result of that increase for the same period this time last year. Again, looking at financial statements, month end, September 30th, you can see professional development credit amount due to the year-end accruals that were reversed. Again, really the only significant item to share for that particular statement this type of year. And then looking at cash reserves, again, just pointing out, as was in your consent agenda item, we were able to do another contribution to the set aside. And so as in addition to the 169 that we have in cash reserves, we will hopefully have at least 66 million in the set aside for ERP and capital investments. That will be budget authority that the system will have to use for projects moving forward. As you remember, we did 36 million last year, and we were able to do another 30 million in set aside for that account this year. And the books are not officially closed yet. So we continue to look at that item. But right now, we would have a minimum of 66 million approved in the set aside above and beyond what the cash reserves is.
And Dr. Vian, I'm gonna jump in there.
Yes, sir.
So the board will remember that in October, I signaled what is action item number 3 to y'all and committed that the rollover money would go to renovating North Harris and Tomball. So for those of you that are wondering, when is that gonna happen? We just got the authority literally within the last few minutes to sort of spend that money. And I want to commend the entire system, all of my colleagues on Chancellor's Cabinet and everyone that works in the college, because that money is because we only spent about 91%
Yes, sir.
of the total budget. So my commitment to the institution is that if we save money and we live well below our means, then we will transfer that money to help the institution. And if we continue to spend at 99.9%, like we have been, we become very, very susceptible to changes in state funding, to changes in tax scrolls. And so it's not only a way to save money, but it's a way to insulate not only your jobs, but this institution to ensure that it endures during tough economic times. So right now, we're very blessed to be in a very privileged position, but we need to make sure that we do what we can to ensure that when and if situations arrive like COVID-19 or Hurricane Harvey, we're in a situation to handle that business. So just wanted to highlight that because one of the questions that we've gotten a lot is when is this thing at North Harris going to happen? When is Tomball going to happen? And so just wanted to again thank the board for approving that today. The lion's share of that money will go to North Harris and Tomball, which are two of our oldest campuses. And for the record, that doesn't mean that we're not going to spend money on other campuses. But that's really sort of the priority for the next year or two. So thank you.
Sure. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah,
Thank you,
sir.
ma'am. All right. I think the only other item is suggested future agenda items. I do have one. Are there any others? Then the one we need to consider in December is an important one, and that's the reorganization of the board. Given the, by policy, each December in an election year where we elect trustees, we reorganize the board. And at that time, of course, the new trustees or the incumbent trustees are reseated and we have all participation. This year, there's an exception. We may not know who the new or re-elected trustees are at that time. So we're going to have to discuss how to handle this. And that's what we will do in December, maybe in open session, maybe closed session. Give me your thoughts between now and then as to how you want to do this. But we have to consider it because it's in policy. Any other comments, questions, business for this meeting? Then 12:46, I adjourn this meeting. Thanks.